that's not working. So we're not going to get we're not going to get the video. But that's okay. You know why? Because I'm just as charming and interesting as intro video. That's why. I'm your host, Paul Britton, and this is Real to Real Talk. Doing movie reviews. I have this, banner ready to go that just says, "Hey, movie reviews." So we don't need fanciness here. We can just dive right in to movie reviews because I've got 4 of them to look at. And we're going to start with what came to theaters this week. There were 2 movies released. I only went and saw one of them because, just going to be honest, I just have no interest in the ongoing saga of Daniel-san and what's going on in the Karate Kid universe. I just don't care. And one of the things that I have decided for my own, well-being going forward is I just, if I have zero interest in seeing a movie, I'm sticking to my guns on that. And I'm just going to assume that my gut is ready and right and correct in saying, yeah, you don't need to go see that movie. And Karate Kid Legacy or whatever it was called, don't care, not going to see it. Bring Her Back, however. Bring Her Back is a different story. So this is the follow-up movie to or coming from the brothers who made Talk to Me, which was an indie horror hit out of Australia by the Philippou brothers, Philippou. I'm going to pronounce that Philippou. Could be wrong, and that's okay to be wrong sometimes. And the Philippou brothers made Talk to Me, which was just a huge runaway hit as a basically an independently financed horror film out of like Southern Australia, and like nobody saw it coming, and it was loved, and it was creepy and scary as hell. And so this is the first time that they're making a movie where they were actually like given money by a studio and said, here, go make a movie. And I don't want to compare the two a lot. Obviously you're going to compare the two a little, but I don't want to go too far down that well. And I'm going to do it up front and then just be done with it. And because some of the discourse I have read has said, oh, well, Bring Her Back just wasn't as good. Bring Her Back wasn't as taut. It's a different fucking movie and has a totally different kind of feel to Talk to Me. But they both involve demons, and that's the kind of horror that I like. If you're going to give me horror, don't give me like evil person does evil things because they're evil and it's and watch this knife chop off this person's head. Give me fucking demon is just making people do terrible shit, and it's horrific what demons will make people do to other human beings. That I'm like, okay, that for some reason I can accept that demons are the cause of terrible things. I have a harder time accepting that people are the cause of horrible things. I honestly, there's a psychological study there, and you don't even need to go too deep. Like it's right there on the surface, and I'm basically just talking about it. But yeah, so that Bring Her Back is the story. Sally Hawkins, so good. She's in so much stuff. The Shape of Water. Did she win the Academy Award? She was nominated for the Academy Award. I don't remember if she won. I apologize. And she was the mom in the first 2 Paddington movies. She's been in stuff. That's what we're getting at. She's been in stuff. She pops up here. Is a foster mom who takes in a boy who's like a couple months shy of 18 and being taken out of the system, and his younger stepsister who is blind, and probably, I don't know that we get a real age, but we'll say like 14, like 3.5, 4 years younger than her brother, um because their father dies, and we actually kind of see like what happens with the father, and it's very, they get you started on the disturbing imagery, just and it's like, this is going to be the least disturbing thing you see during this movie, so enjoy. And sure enough, it was by far the least disturbing thing, but it was still pretty fucking disturbing. And they go live with Sally Hawkins, who turns out had a blind daughter who passed away, and is fostering another kid called named Oliver, who's a little off, and is taking in these two kids, and apparently was not interested in bringing in the boy, but the kids insisted, and she agreed. And we find out that the boy had difficulty in his past. That's all unpacked, and we also find out that Oliver is not everything that he seemed to be, and that gets unpacked. And by not everything he seemed to be, not just a quiet, slightly weird kid, but like really fucking creepy and dangerous, and yeah, like destructive. And man, look, the title of the movie is Bring Her Back. It's made pretty obvious in the title of in the trailers. I'll go as far as the trailers go. We find out that Sally Hawkins is trying to bring back her daughter, who has passed away and has been dead for a while. And it's pretty obvious pretty quickly that she is sabotaging the kid, the dude, the 17 and a half year old, or not 8.5, but 17 and 10-month-year-old, and his relationship with his stepsister, in order to isolate the stepsister, and involve the stepsister in some way to bring the daughter back. This is just such like a creepy fucking slow burn movie. And I love exorcisms, and there is no exorcism in this, but it's that kind of thing. It's just like you slowly figure out what the demon is doing and what the people around the demon are trying to accomplish. And it reveals itself slowly. And I'll say, like, some of the pacing is a little off, because but I don't know how you fix that because like the scary creepy stuff is really fucking scary creepy, and it's like they do a really good job of just imagine having a bottle of soda, and you just it's a brand new bottle, and you just crack it, and then you crack a little more, and then you crack a little more, and the more that you crack it, eventually there's just nothing more that can be let out, and then you just need to get on with it. And once and leading up to the get on with it part it's just like and then the get on with it part it's so fast and furious at the end. It's almost difficult to keep up with, but also it's just like, fuck, this is can we just get rid of this fucking demon, and can we just like not have the blind girl get killed? And I'm not going to reveal who lives and dies, but let's just say that the final image of the movie is appropriate, and yeah. Look, here at Real to Real Talk, we do tacos instead of stars. 1 star, 1 taco, so on and so forth. And if we feel like a movie deserves a little extra, instead of doing a half a taco, we'll add guac. Why? Because nobody eats a half a fucking taco. This is a 4 taco movie. Fantastic horror movie. Is it the best I've ever seen? No, certainly not. Um, are there? If somebody had complaints about it, would I be like, "Oh, okay, I can see that"? Yeah, I'd be interested to hear some genuine complaints. Not as taut as the first movie. Not as taut as uh Let Her In. It's a different thing, and so I just don't know that you're gonna, it's a different thing. But I probably would. I don't know. I like them both. There you go. So that I'm done. I don't want to compare them anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm done comparing them. All right. Now we have a trio of streaming movies, and we're going to go first. Two of them have been out for a couple weeks now, and one of them was super super fresh this past weekend. The first one is Fear Street Prom Queen. R.L. Stein had, obviously the Goosebumps series, but he also apparently had like a slightly more genuinely scary, not intended for kids quite as much, series called Fear Street. Not familiar with it. Netflix optioned it, and they did an original set of 3 movies back in 2021, released. I don't know if they were released like in 3 consecutive weeks, or like every other week, or 3 consecutive months. I feel like they were 3 consecutive weeks. I could be wrong on that. That were pretty good. 2021, straight to streaming, Netflix, heart of the pandemic garbage. They were pretty good. I liked them enough. And so they all took place. They were named after years, and so it was Fear Street 1994, and it took place in 1994. Fear Street 1976 or 1977, and it took place in 1977. And Fear Street 1666, and it took place in 1666. They all took place in this city called Shadyside, and they were all connected in what they were trying to, the sort of like the evil entity, whatever, that was causing things to be terrible. So the 3 movies had a common thread in that they all took place in this place in the city called Shadyside. Now we have Fear Street Prom Queen taking place in, I believe it was 1987, might have been 1988. Doesn't really matter. It's the 80s, so you know what to expect as far as hair and music is concerned. And in this case, Shadyside is having a graduating class in their Shadyside High School. And we're following the lives of these 6 young women who are up for prom queen at the prom. And it's really important, right? Because it always is. It's basically horror Mean Girls, just cutting to it. Horror Mean Girls minus the plastics actually accepting someone from the outside into their clique, just basically being a judgmental bitchy clique. Down to during the prom, literally they do a musical dance number straight out of Mean Girls. This movie takes from so many other movies before it and teen movies before it. And I it never it at no point did it feel like it was its own thing. It was just really, it just was really super derivative, primarily of Mean Girls, but also of like Scream, just super derivative of Scream. The who done it aspect of it, like who's the back, it's like blatantly obvious who's doing it, and at no point is that interesting. The kills are okay, I guess. I don't I'm not a slasher movie person, so if you like slasher movies, I guess you might potentially enjoy how the various prom queens are being, or potential prom queens, and their dates or whatnot are being killed throughout the week and leading up to and night of the prom. Um, yeah, I don't know. This was not as good as the original trilogy. I'm just gonna say that, and I'm also going to say, I, this is two tacos. I would love to give it more. It's not getting more. Uh, I was tempted to do two tacos plus guac, but like my 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 thought on two tacos plus guac is it's not a movie that I would ever go and watch on my own. But if somebody said, "Hey, why don't we watch this?" I'd say, "Okay, cool." I'm not. I would not say, "Okay, cool." Like I had genuine problems with this movie in how it felt to me, and it just wasn't all that good. If you're interested in catching up on Fear Street, watch the original trilogy. They released in reverse chronological order, so make sure you watch them in reverse chronological order. It's really kind of important. Um, the last one's the best one. Uh, Next up, Fountain of Youth, released on Apple Plus, starring John Krasinski and Natalie Portman. Hey, we love John Krasinski and we love Natalie Portman, so we have to love this, right? Um, it's the story of John Krasinski is maybe an art thief, maybe a like not yeah, we'll say a treasure hunter, a la Indiana Jones, a la National Treasure. And we find out that he is stealing art because he's seeking the uh Fountain of Youth, and he's being funded by Dullum Gleason, one of the Weasley brothers. Not one of the Weasley twins, nor Ron Weasley, but uh, he's being funded by Dullum Gleason, who has liver cancer and is just trying to find the Fountain of Youth so he doesn't die, because if he believes the Fountain of Youth can save him. I mentioned Fear Street Prom Queen was very derivative. Again, I love John Krasinski. I love Natalie Portman. So derivative. Like the first 5 minutes, it's just like the movie might as well say in the first 5 minutes, "Hey, we're trying to be National Treasure and Indiana Jones, and that's just what we're going for here. So enjoy. We hope you enjoy our take on Indiana Jones and National Treasure." And then proceeds to be not very interesting. We'll just call it not very interesting. I like John Krasinski. I'm gonna just say that a lot because I am apologizing. I'm apologizing for John Krasinski and Natalie Portman. I feel bad for Apple Plus. I feel like if they don't say we're going to try to make this a National Treasure, and if they don't say we're going to make this Indiana Jones, and they just say we're making a heist movie with maybe some historical undertones, like that worked for fucking Dan Brown and the fucking books that he made, Da Vinci Code shit, which I liked the books. The movie was okay. Going for Da Vinci Code would have been way, and they actually do sprinkle a little bit of Da Vinci Code shit in here too. But going for Da Vinci Code, not the religious stuff, but just shit hidden in art stuff. If they had just gone for the Da Vinci Code aspect of it, and like they were doing a heist, and maybe that would this movie never comes together. Like they bring up the, like, all of a sudden they have to go on the Lusitania, and they explain why they have to go on the Lusitania. It's a ship that sank during World War II, was sunk by German U-boats. They go into why they have to bring up why they need to get onto the Lusitania. There's a piece of art that went down in there that they need to get. And rather than like go down into the Lusitania, they bring the Lusitania up. And rather than like explain, oh, this like a Mission Impossible type thing, this is going to be really difficult. They just kind of nonchalantly bring up a section of the Lusitania. And it's entirely plausible that like I kind of glazed over and missed the explanation of this is how we're going to bring up the Lusitania. But I also feel like I didn't, and they just didn't. They just said we're going to have to do this thing, and we're ready. Because they were really fucking ready to bring up the Lusitania, and that's what this movie was. It was just they were really fucking ready for all of the things that they needed to be ready for, and there was just no explanation on why they were this ready when the shit that they were doing was not that straightforward. And I feel like in national so like that's not something that you get in Indiana Jones a lot. There's a little bit of that, but not a lot. But that's like the thing with National Treasure where it's like all of a sudden shit we need to fucking get the uh the Declaration of Independence, and it's like, all right, cool, and but they make it understandably difficult. this is this is not. And then they have the protectors of the Fountain of Youth, much like in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, there were the protectors of the chalice. And okay, like one of them's this really hyper attractive woman who is flirty with John Krasinski, or John Krasinski is flirty with her, I should say, really honestly, to be fair. And it's just like, okay, it's just this is just a movie that never goes anywhere in spite of me wanting, like I was on board and they never got buy-in. 2 fucking tacos. I really wanted to. This movie really should have a 3 taco floor. This is just so my fucking wheelhouse with heists and Indiana Jones and National Treasure, all of that in history, all of that shit, right in my fucking wheelhouse. And they don't do a goddamn thing with it. I don't know how this movie doesn't get 3 tacos. I can't recommend it, and I never want to watch it again. But I was still interested in some of the history shit. So like that's why it's 2 tacos and not just 1 taco. Or maybe tacos with guac or something. I'm being generous. And honestly, like if I sat and the reason why I think maybe the reason why I'm giving it 2 tacos is because if I sat and thought between Fear Street, Prom Queen, and Fountain of Youth, which one would I actually be like, okay, I'll watch that again? Like somebody said, look, you have to watch one of these two movies with it. I'm going to pick Fountain of Youth. And so that's why it's not getting less. And that's more of a genre thing than anything, but they're both super disappointing. Last one I'm going to do, speaking of super disappointing, is Mountainhead. Okay, so this movie is coming to us from the makers of Severance. And it was released. It was actually originally going to air on HBO, but they released it on Max a day early. So I watched it on Max a day early, and I had no idea that I watched it a day earlier. But cool, that's cool. I was one of those people that got to watch Mountainhead a day early. It stars Steve Carell and 3 other people. Only one of whom I remember at all. Of course, from Wes Anderson movies, Jason Schwartzman. Corey Michael Smith is the and Rami Youssef are the other 2. I do recognize Corey Michael Smith. 4 billionaires, although it's 3 billionaires and 1 hundreds of millionaire. And like one of the running jokes in the movie is that one of them is not a billionaire. And it's Jason Schwartzman's character, which is just perfect. 3 billionaires are going to go play like are really good friends, like genuinely, like apparently, and they're gonna go play poker up in the newly completed mountain home of one of them, and it's the Jason Schwartzman's character, and the name of his home, he named the home Mountainhead. More on that in a moment. And this is just a super dark comedy. And what's happening is, so the one of the three billionaires, Corey Michael Smith, is basically the Elon Musk stand-in, and he became a billionaire through Elon Musk if he actually had done something to make Twitter. Okay, like if he actually made Twitter, rather than just devolving Twitter into a garbage platform. If he had actually made Twitter and it just turned into a garbage platform and he didn't care. One of the billionaires, the Remy Yosef character, is a billionaire for developing AI, and the other billionaire, Steve Carell, is basically sort of like the what's his name, the the guy that lives in Kansas and everybody loves him and he's the best investor in the world and he never splits his stock. So Berkshire Hathaway guy. I know Blair's going to throw the name up for me, so I'm just going to come over here and look for the name when it pops up. The and then Jason Schwartzman is famous for having created like you get the idea that he creates like apps and maybe some self-help apps and stuff like that, but it's obvious why he's not a billionaire, because the stuff that like the stuff that he's attached to are clearly not like billion-dollar ideas. And the same time that they're trying to play poker, Corey Michael Smith's billionaire, I'm just going to call him Elon. His name was Venice, but I'm going to call him Elon. Has introduced new AI to his platform, and the AI is causing problems because it's creating racist and detrimental and just destructive deep fakes. And so what's happening is, around the globe, people are seeing terrible things happen that aren't actually happening, but people are responding in real life and killing people and blowing things up, and society's devolving. And the dark comedy is it's just so dark, and the first parts of it are so funny, and like there are so many awesome funny throwaway lines, like, so this is Mountainhead, and so like one of the characters is like, oh, I get it, so like it's Ayn Rand, and he's like, oh, I get it, so it's like Fountainhead. And then one of the other characters says, oh, who was the designer? Ayn Bland instead of Ayn Rand. And I love that. Like, Ayn Bland is just brilliant. Like, brilliant, because like it was a very brutalist architectural thing, and it just very stark and empty, and just, and Ayn Bland because she's a fucking bland piece of garbage. And just chef's kiss on that joke. And there were a lot of really interesting, funny, intelligent things going on like that with the banter that's going on. And then they get to the third act and they feel like they need to move these characters into internal drama, but for whatever reason they decide that the makers of this movie decide that the drama needs to in some way mirror what's going on in the outside world, when it would have been way more interesting if the outside world had actually come in and influenced them, rather than them still being sanitized from the outside world, and then just kind of like, okay, the drama that's going on outside is mirroring what's going on in here is mirroring what's going on outside. But if it were done by just people who have no stakes other than making additional billions of dollars and protecting their already billions of dollars, which is really no stakes. And it goes from something that's interesting and funny to something that's just not interesting and simultaneously not funny. And which is, man, I just felt like there, uh, this did not land for me at all. I'm sure there are going to be some people that are like, oh, it totally landed for me, and I'm happy for you. This one just missed. I was I loved the first act of this. I enjoyed the second act of it. I didn't like at all the third. Like the third act was downright not interesting on any level, and not even funny. At which, so like just a huge come down, and it's getting 2 tacos plus guac. Um, but I encourage people to watch this one, like the other two. If you just like, yeah, you know what, that review, I don't want to watch it. I encourage people to watch this one because, like, literally the first like 40 minutes are genuinely fascinating, like, and really fucking dark, but really fucking funny in the darkness. And if you like dark comedy, it's just amazing. And the third act just isn't dark at all. It's just like, I mean, it just feels like, okay, this is the privileged class, and their problems are still not remotely as interesting or difficult as what's going on outside. And so it felt very ineffectual. No, Blair says, damn, not a single good film this week. Not true. Not true. Bring Her Back was a really good film. And so I definitely recommend that one. But, the streamers, not so much. So, that's it. That's what I got for next week. Sergio's coming back. We're going to be doing Ballerina. I at least will definitely be doing The Phoenician Scheme, the next movie from Wes Anderson. Cannot be more excited to talk about a new Wes Anderson movie. Sergio created a brand new outro. That intro video didn't work. I'm going to give this a try. So pardon me if I just hit this and nothing happens and I look confused for a second, and then hit the end stream. I'll definitely fill that dead air. But I love you guys. I hope everybody goes and watches some movies. Bring Her Back, 100% worth it.